I'm Corbett Wall with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Thursday, November the 14th, brought to you in part by Kansas Regenerative Medical Center. These guys are pioneers in the regenerative medical field, and Kansas RMC is one of the first and largest standalone stem cell treatment centers in the Midwest. For more information, go to kansasrmc.com. Cabinet filling quickly. Man, Trump is just going like crazy. It's like he's been there before and knows what he's doing, getting these nominees put up for all these different cabinet positions, and I'm really liking most of them. I figure most of you guys are too. The one thing that I thought is really interesting is this new Department of Government Efficiency. That's where he's got billionaire Elon Musk and then Vivek Ramaswamy working together to try to trim the fat off the government. And Elon thinks that he can get $2 trillion off that thing right away. And they're going to be stopping program fraud, which costs us billions of dollars all the time, and getting rid of unneeded programs and unneeded positions. I worked for federal government for about 20 years, and I guarantee you there's a lot of fat to trim there, guys. One thing that they badly need to do is when they dole money out to these different programs and these different branches of the government, they need to allow them to have savings accounts. Because if they're wanting to do something, they can't save the money up that they get doled out to them and then pile it up and then go buy what they want to do or do what they want to do. They have to piss all the money away that they get every year, or they don't get the money the next year. And so that's how at the end of the year we always, what's this new desk here for? Why do I need a new desk? The other desk was fine. Why do I have new computers? I just got kind of used to my old computer, because at the end of the fiscal year they're pissing all that money away, so they make sure they get the same amount at least the next time, and that's just stupid. But I guarantee you there are at least thousands and probably tens of thousands of government jobs just in the USDA that don't need to be there, and not all of those are in the packers and stockyards, but a lot of them are. But we're still waiting for them to talk more about your agriculture secretary. I want to give some credit to Texas Ag Commissioner Sid Miller. He did actually comment on the video that I did a couple of days ago talking about the secretaries, the ag secretaries, and who might be. And his comment, and I had said in there, I said that he may be enamored by Texas Cattle Feeders Association or Texas and Southwestern Cattle Raisers Association, and just be a puppet for them. But his comment said, for your information, Texas Cattle Feeders Association, Texas Southwestern Cattle Raisers Association, nor the Farm Bureau endorsed him for his last election. He said, they don't own me. And I was kind of glad to see that. And I was even more glad that he watches the feeder flash. And he wears a cowboy hat, and he tries to preserve some Western heritage. And I think that would be really cool if he got in there to the cabinet and you'd be able to pick him out in the crowd. Which one's with the agriculture? Bang, right there. The one that's got the nice cowboy hat on. And so you know, he's went up a few notches for me. I've shaken hands with Sid Miller, but I don't know him. He is active, and every year when I go to the Independent Cattlemen's Association of Texas, which is an affiliate of U.S. Cattlemen's Association, he is always there and he's always active. And I do appreciate him for that. So I feel like maybe he does have the small cattle producers in mind there. But I am going to put another one up that I haven't heard mentioned. But my friend Brooke Miller from Virginia, he is a past president of the U.S. Cattlemen's Association. He is a well-renowned doctor of medicine, and he was one of the first and the most outspoken to be anti-vax. And I was totally anti-vax too. Well, RFK Jr. is anti-vax. But Brooke Miller was anti-vax. He ended up doing a speaking tour talking all about it, and he knew that it was a scam from the get-go on that Wuhan flu. And he gained a lot of notoriety there. And he's very, very good at being a doctor, and he's a good cattle producer, and he's well-minded as far as agriculture goes. And he has spoken at the CPAC committee conventions or conferences there. So he's always been a conservative. He's always been a supporter of President Trump. He only eats beef. Both he and his wife only eat beef. So I think we should put him up. Let's put a check by Brooke Miller's name. And also, Brooke is going to be having his production sale this Saturday, November the 16th on DVAuction. It's the Ginger Hill Angus. I mentioned it a couple days ago there. And he's got some of the best Angus seed stock that you can get out east, guys. It's going to be in Culpeper, Virginia. It's going to be at November the 16th, this Saturday at 11 o'clock a.m. Central. Now, he's out on the East time zone, but it's 11 o'clock Central. He's got 40 bulls, 35 females. Both of our good buddy Justin Tupper is going to be the auctioneer. So that's going to be kind of fun, guys. But just looking at some of the stuff going on. Now, the board was lower on Wednesday on your spot contracts, but then quite a bit higher as you went further out. And I fully think that's because most of the traders watched the feeder flash and they saw me talking about how I don't think there's many cattle behind these record numbers of cattle on feed, but it won't be long. We'll get the experts' opinions and their call for what they think is going to be on the cattle on feed report, and then we can start puckering up and worrying about what's going to happen as we get closer to it. But if you're looking for a sale, it's got some fancy calves on it. They've got one here today on Thursday. Napoleon Livestock in Napoleon, North Dakota. Fairly recently on DVAuction there, but a good bunch of guys there. They've got a special calf sale coming up here today on Thursday. It starts at 7 o'clock in the morning. They'll be on the calves and yearlings by 10:30. You need to call Marcia in the office there, let her know who you are, and get approved to bid on that sale. They've got some really nice calves on there. All the calves will have at least one round of shots. There will be a few that are weaned on there, and they'll tell you about those. They are kind of featuring the Charolais and the Charolais cross calves on the sale today in Napoleon, North Dakota. With some of those red and Charolais cattle. B. Horner's outfit's got 460 head in there. Morley's got another 350 head. They're also featuring all breeds in addition to the Charolais cattle there. They're gonna have a lot of strings of calves, 200 and more. They got big producers up there, guys. The Migler outfit's got 100 head of black wean steers with 3 rounds of shots. And then he'll also have a load of 8 1/4 weight yearling steers on that sale. But big sale in Napoleon, North Dakota. Get on DVAuction, view and bid that sale. Let's talk about your board for Wednesday. December live cattle futures are down 37 cents at 184.02. February down 5 cents at 186.07. Your back months were kind of mixed, but really nothing. Down 2 cents to up as much as 22. November feeder cattle down 35 cents on Wednesday at 246.47. January was up 7 cents at 243.65. And then your back months were up pretty good from 47 cents to 90 cents higher on your back months. Check out your coverage prices there on your LRPs. Talking about grain, December corn was down 2 cents at 426.5. January beans down 2 3/4 at 10.07 3/4. And Kansas City hard red winter wheat for December down 5 3/4 cents at 5.40 3/4. Fat cattle trade, we still haven't seen it develop yet because the packers, they don't want to give steady money. Most of your cattle feeders are holding out for more. We did see bids on your Fed Cattle Exchange, your online platform there with Central Stockyards. They were bidding up to 288 on the base price, bid the grid there on some beef on dairy. But we did see a few cattle sell negotiated cash. It was in Nebraska. It was 3,100 of them. They sold dressed at 290. You think, well, 290 is not too bad. Last week's weighted average on dressed steers was 293.13. So that was not a great sale there, especially to be some of the first ones to sell. You know, we always hate it when the weak sisters start selling out. The market's not lower until you start selling cattle lower, guys. The board is not the market. And I realize that box beef cutouts are struggling a little bit. That's the packers' problem, not your problem. Until you start selling the fat cattle cheaper, they're not cheaper. But they did have a couple of fat cattle auctions there we can get a market from. We had one in Sioux Falls Regional Livestock in Worthing, South Dakota. About 1,250 head of slaughter cattle there, including the cows. Fat steers and heifers were steady to $2 lower. But there again, just like we saw in Yankton on Tuesday, non-implanted, they're going after them this week. They sold from $3 to $4 higher, your program type cattle that are not implanted. Conventional fat steers and heifers sold from 184 to 190, 150, and then your program cattle from 185.5 to 192.75. Glacial Lakes Livestock in Watertown, South Dakota had a big run, 950 head of slaughter cattle there, including the cows. $2 to $3 lower on the trend for them. Conventional fat cattle in Watertown, South Dakota bring from 183 to 186. Program drug-free or non-implanted cattle from 185 to 189, and fat-fed cows from 125 to 135. Talk about your box beef cutout values. They were lower and established new lows for this latest decline, so they continue to fall here. But choice cuts down 133 at 306.94. Selects down 126 at 278.66. Your slaughter so far this week, very disappointing. Just keeps getting a little bit lighter all the time. Now they're trying to back up the slaughter to perk up the wholesale beef market, and you can't blame them. But we're going into a time of the year where you would think they would want to have a lot of beef on hand, but just 358,000 estimated slaughter, cattle slaughter so far this week up through the first 3 days. That's 11,000 less than last week, 18,000 less than the same week a year ago. Talking about what else is going on. Everybody likes the punchy pick of the month contest, and you know how that works. If something punchy happens and you happen to snap a picture of it, guys, if you got it on your phone there, email that picture to punchy@nationalbeefwire.com. If you email that picture there, you're automatically entered. Grand prize winner every month gets the big prize package, huge box, plumb full of all kinds of swag from Beaver Feed Company in Beaver, Oklahoma, National Beef Wire, Feeder Flash, Beaver County Stockyards in Beaver, Oklahoma. They've got some cool stuff. And then you'll get some neat stuff from Fairpiece, but you'll get the whole case of the Fairpiece product, which is that revolutionary product that's scientifically proven. If you guys are weaning calves and you're not using it, I mean, you're missing out, because it's absolutely revolutionary there. I'm gonna stick a video on the end of this Feeder Flash episode to remind you a little bit more about it. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DVAuction. Based on an 800-pound cash auction steer up through your middle 12 states, just like your feeder cattle index. The latest available after Wednesday's sales, and we had some humdingers, it was up $1.40 compared to the end of Tuesday's trade at 250.67. Blew right by your latest CME cash feeder cattle index, which is 249.02, and always dragging a day and a half behind your real-time index there. Talk about some big sales that's going to happen here on Thursday. Besides Napoleon, North Dakota, Ogallala Livestock Auction, Ogallala, Nebraska. They've got about 4,000 head on a special. They're going to have calves and yearlings there. They're Mitchell, South Dakota, Mitchell Livestock Marketing. they've got about 2,500. Be a lighter run for them, but a lot of fancy calves in that offering, guys, if you guys are interested in those. And then over in Dickinson, North Dakota, Stockman's Livestock Exchange, the East Barn, is having a big sale here on Thursday too. All of those DV auction broadcasters. Talk about your big sales on Wednesday. OKC West, El Reno, Oklahoma, had about 8,000 head. Feeders were mostly steady. You know, we were expecting them to be higher. They gained some ground last week, so it's always, you gotta always think about what you're comparing it to. And the feeders were mostly steady. The calves are $3 to $10 higher, but the calves had gained quite a bit of ground already, so that's how come your trends are a little bit more modest, but still all just as good or better there. And if the calves as much as $10 better, good demand noted on that sale. And they did have a Red Angus influence sale, so I had a lot of those fancy cattle in there. But one big sale, and it always is a market maker there, is Bassett Livestock Auction, Bassett, Nebraska. They had a sale on Wednesday, 3,500 head. They just called the calves sharply higher because that's all you could call them. They are your National Beef Wire stick-out sale of the day. Check out these big prices on these calves in Bassett, Nebraska. 396 head of the 4-weight steer calves, average 446 at 354.53. 832 head of the 5-weight steer calves averaged 544 pounds at 331.73. And 685 of the 6-weight steers averaged 639 at $300.23 for your weighted average price there on those 6-weight steers. On your heifers, notably less heifers at this sale than there was steers. So I don't know if they're keeping them back for themselves. They're going to keep them back, grow them, maybe get them bred and try to sell them that way. But we are seeing signs of retention, especially there in the sand hills of Nebraska, where the best cattle in the world are found. But only one really good, well-tested weight group of the heifers. 346 head of the 4-weight heifer calves averaged 453 with a weighted average price of 314.57. Individual quote that I thought was the most impressive out of Bassett Livestock Auction was 105 steer calves weigh 516 and bring $3.60 a pound. Wow. How about another one on some big steers? Hub City Livestock Auction in Aberdeen, South Dakota. They sell 61 steers, weighed 9 1/4 at 264 1/4. Wow. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Wednesday, your Macrocin No BS top quote for the day, come out of Bloomfield Livestock Market in Bloomfield, Iowa there. The Schooley family runs that and does a really good job, and they had a humdinger there. The most impressive one I saw from there was 70 steers, weighed 796, almost 800 pounds at 283.10. That's your feeder flash for Thursday.